Yes, hi. That was actually, quite right. My name is a Dutch name, so that's, all Dutch names are hard for Americans to pronounce, so that did a great job. So, I want to talk about a project that I've done, and I also want to show a short clip about it, but actually I want to talk about something else before that I do that. And that's like about these types of conferences in general. I like to go to a lot of these things like this, augmented reality, IoT, Bitcoin conferences, what have you. And at some point when these technologies take off, right, then there's like this big change. Because in the beginning, we're talking about standards, about writing software, creating new stuff, I have ideas, abstract ideas. It's like an intellectual debate that's going on at these conferences. And then when the technology takes off, it gets like a smell. It starts to smell funny. And that's actually something I quickly want to talk about because last year I was here and there was this young woman and she made a beautiful dress. And what the thing did was, if you tweeted to the dress, it lighted up. It was beautiful. And the first question she got was, how are you going to make money out of this? And it was something that I thought now the conference starts to smell funny. And yes, I have a company, and yes, I also make money with that company, but I also have an art education, and every year I try to make art projects about technology. I like deep learning, that's why I'm interested in AR. And that's just something I just wanted to talk about, just so you see all the rooms are filled except for the art and culture one. So please spread the word how important this is. And if you're selling something, AR is not ready. We need more universities, more art schools, more design academies working on this technology to make it really valuable and, of course, make it open source. So now to my actual talk. So if you can please start the video. So what I decided to talk about, as I just told you, was that I wanted to talk about like some artistic work that I've been doing. And one of the things I'm really interested about is deep learning. And the video that you're going to see on the right side is an abstract of my idea. Actually, the wearable that I'm using, there's like actually a dancer guy. There's like he dances, he improvises to music that you can hear. Maybe the sound engineer can have like a little bit of sound going on. That's the wearable. And what I did is I wrote a piece of software. It's on GitHub. You can actually see the software. And it's reading his brain activity. So that's something you can see on the right side of the screen. In the middle of the screen, you will see how that's going to be translated in synthesizer, related MIDI. That's boring, it's MIDI, but that's what I'm using. So all the music that you're hearing is generated from his brain. And the thought about this is like, because as I told you, I'm very interested in deep learning. The thing is that I asked him to try and control his brain and change the music, but he couldn't. And I wasn't doing anything because my software is just reading his data and just making an interpretation of his data. And the point that I'm actually trying to make here is that I'm saying like, we're not there yet. The data, deep learning is such early stages. We can't really do the stuff we want to do with AR, IoT that we really want to, where we're heading to. And that's like the point that I'm trying to make here. And it's like an artistic, abstract expression that I'm actually saying like, it's his sound, he's making the sound, his ideas, but he can't control them. So, for the remaining time, I think maybe we, I don't know how long we have, but just have a short look at the clip. I have some cards, by the way, if you're interested. Then you can also look at my website, check out the source code, etc. if you're interested. So that's the project. this is going on for a few more minutes, but somebody's waving that I'm almost out of time. So if you're interested in it, then thank you.
We actually have time for a question or two.
I don't know if this is more of a comment than a question. So I'm also a mindfulness coach. So now with this, you're totally speaking to me, in the sense when you said he can't control his thoughts, essentially, is what you're saying, right? So I think with this type of technology, we have the opportunity to create that loop, to actually become more aware of what our thinking is, and not necessarily control it, but because we can observe it, it changes. So in that strange way, we can control it, but maybe not everyone, and maybe when we find more intersections with this type of new technology, we can create more and more applications that will enable people to become more peaceful that way.
Yeah, so it's funny if I make a remark about it, because what I really like about it is what I said in the beginning. Exactly the things you're talking about right now. I think that's where we are. We still need to think about that and how we do that. And this is like an artistic, but it's and you're talking about the mind and mindfulness, but you can also talk about maybe what politics, privacy, that kind of stuff, and then slowly have the software evolve from that. So that's so thanks for that remark. Interesting. Yeah. Sure.
Just to follow on kind of with that question, it seems like in this instantiation of this, it's very the interpretation made on the software side as far as the mapping of sounds and whatnot is very influencing sort of what's happening. And there's been other projects people do, like genetic data, DNA strains, what have you. And so obviously very up to the interpretation. It might be interesting to look at having or to see if this has an impact on the ability to control having the person pick what those mappings are in some kind of interactive, process. So might be, yeah. Like, can you talk a little bit about actually with the interpretation? So, like, I noticed there was some rhythmic percussive elements there. Like, was that mapped to a particular, transient or signal?
Yeah, so it was, because it's in the end it's a composition, and it's a composition that's written in code. And so I use a JavaScript there because I would like to be able to use certain callbacks. So yes, it's true that I'm, as the composer, give a few directions to it, but not much. The reason why I do that is, and that's something if you read about, you can learn about. I am personally very interested how this kind of digital technology can maybe one time become a new art discipline of its own. So I'm not necessarily interested in how humans interact or use, for example, theater makers use AR to have a new stage. I'm interested how that technology can be technology of its own. So to answer your question through that, that mapping, that happens of course a lot because I'm giving that direction. But everything that's changeable can be volume, panning, duration, everything you can think of is established at the beginning of the composition, and that's also why the software is open, so that you can actually see how I do that.
Thank you very much, Bob. That's about all the time we have questions for.
Thank you.